Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be doing some inspired spooky nails. Here are the pictures so y'all can see what we are going for. Now, I'm going to get in a little bit more into my prepping with this video. I received a comment. Here is the comment. She said, hey, I'm a beginner nail tech and I have a problem with my clients' nails popping off, but mine don't pop off. I don't know what I be doing wrong. Can you give me advice? Alright, so for the first step, I am using a 240 grit sanding band. I get these off of Amazon. They will be linked down in the description box. I have it set to usually, I would say maybe 1 to 5,000 RPM. It really depends on the thickness / thinness of their nails and how sensitive it is, because you know, sometimes I could do 4,000 RPM and some of my clients will kind of jump back and things like that, so I'll just turn it down if their hands are too sensitive. But I am making sure that I am getting right up on the nail bed. I am trying to remove every bit of shine that I can without hurting her. I am also using it to kind of shape up the nail a bit, get rid of the length of her actual natural nail. I could use a nail clipper, but since I already be in the process of just sanding it, you could use a nail clipper or a sanding band. They both work perfectly fine, but you want to make sure that you can definitely see a difference when you are sanding the nail bed. It should be ashy, like it should look like her nail is dust itself. If you can tell, I tried to zoom in just a little bit more so you can see. I am also using it to push up that cuticle as if I was mimicking using a cuticle pusher. Now, sometimes their sidewalls can run a little deep into the side skin, so what I'll do is use my fingers that I'm using to hold up underneath her nail, and I'll kind of slightly pull back the side of her skin so that I could get up into that sidewall. And for the other side, I'll just use my thumb to kind of pull the skin downward a little bit just to get up in there. And I'll also do the same thing when it comes to using this cuticle bit if their sidewalls run deep into the skin and that sanding band cannot touch it. So I'm being very careful, and I am using it at the same speed that I used my sanding band, which is about 4,000 RPM. 1 to 5 usually depends on the person. So I'm also getting up in there. I want to make sure I'm getting all of that dead skin. You can tell that you are getting up in there when you can see that, you know, it's extra dust and extra skin kind of coming up from underneath. And I definitely do recommend using a small cuticle bit like this. They have so many. They have some bigger ones. It's really just personal preference, but I definitely do recommend getting a small one. The glue that I'm using will be linked down in the description box. I use this glue all the time. It works so well. I don't really have any problems with it, and it's not even the KDS glue. It's like a different brand, but it's the same price in my opinion, and it all works the same. So I will have that link down in the description box. You get a lot for your buck, so y'all definitely go check that out, because I don't have any problems with none of my nails breaking or popping off, especially towards where the natural nail tip is and where the glue is. Yeah, so I definitely don't have any issues with that. I will also say you definitely want to invest into some good tips. There are different type of tips, different tip thicknesses, if that's a word. But when I used to do, like back then when I first started doing nails, I was just ordering tips. I was just, you know, trying stuff out. And some of the tips that I did receive were thin. And I would find that I would have a lot of issues with the thinner nail tip. These, I feel these are not too thick, these are not too thin, these are really just right, okay? Just like Goldilocks. But y'all should definitely look into getting these tips. They make these in the square, the stiletto, as well as the coffin. So you can get your pre-shaped tips. These, I don't have to do any filing. And with my e-file, I am making sure to file right on that edge of that nail tip where we placed it, right on that nail bed. I am making sure that it is really flush, and I'm also getting rid of any excess glue that has gotten onto her nail so that we can have the most or the best adhesion possible when we go to apply the acrylic. And I'll have my drill set to about the same when I used it in the beginning for prepping with removing the shine and the cuticle bit, which is 4,000 RPM. So for prepping with the primer and dehydrator, I am using Mia's Secret. Now sometimes you can use pure, 100% alcohol or 99% alcohol, whichever alcohol is the highest one for the dehydrator. I feel like that and the Mia's Secret dehydrator, it works the same in my eyes because I use both. Sometimes if I run out of my dehydrator, I'll just go ahead and use my highest percent alcohol that I have until I get another bottle of the Mia's Secret. Yes, I definitely do, and it works the same. And then with the primer, it's the same brand, Mia's Secret, so I don't do any extra things. I be seeing people use other bonders and stuff. You can try them out. I really say, as a beginner, you're really gonna go through your trial and error and finding products that work for you. But these work for me. Mia's Secret, in my opinion, is very much beginner, and I haven't really tried any other brands. I definitely will, because I need to stock up and broaden out my horizons. But until then, I will just be using my Mia's Secrets every day, okay? And this is also a Mia's Secret cover powder. This is the Cover Rose. So yeah, Mia's Secret is definitely in my stock. I have some Valentino, some Glam and Glitz. I have a little bit of something from everywhere, but it's really time for me to put my big girl pennies on and start like actually getting a collection of a brand and stuff, because I just have something for everywhere. I used to, when I first started, I used to get into Valentino. I used to buy Valentino all the time, like restock. But when I go to my nail supply store, it'd be the same color for like $5. So yeah, I'm just gonna buy that one. That's really how it be. But I will say, definitely research into all the products that you are using to make sure that if it's it could be the acrylic you are using. It could be your prep as far as why they are popping off. I also will say, make sure you have them send you a picture of their nails and kind of like what their natural nail bed look like, because I'm not gonna lie, and it sucks that I have to say this, it is some people out there that be trying to, like get over on folks. I know when I first started, there was this one incident where a girl came in, she got her nails done, and then she texted me the day after and was like, one of my nails popped off. And then a couple of hours later said they all popped off. So I'm like, man, you send me a picture so I can kind of see, what they look like. And y'all, it looked like she ripped them off. You can tell the difference from when a nail popped off. It'll kind of look like, some of the nail plate or the nail layers kind of ripped off just a little bit, but it'll still kind of give like a glossy look in some areas. But when you completely rip a nail off, it looks like ripped layers on the entire nail, if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm like, it kind of looked like, you ripped them off. And then, later down the road, she kind of like admitted, like she ripped them off or whatever after the one popped off. But it was kind of like, girl, how you gonna just like say they all just popping off out of nowhere, when in reality you ripping them off? Because she didn't really want to admit that she ripped them off until I kind of told her, like, they look like you ripped them off. And I got insight from some other nail techs. I just asked, hey, I'm having the same issues, my nails keep popping off. And I sent a picture, and one of the nail techs that I was talking to, she was like, girl, it looked like she popped them off. It looked like she ripped them off herself. She probably bit them off. She was just explaining a lot of stuff. It was funny, but I was like, girl, I know I'm not tripping. I would understand maybe one nail popping off, but every single one of your nails just up and popped off within a few hours was just so crazy to me. So yes, definitely make sure they send you a picture so you can see what's going on and all that good stuff. Make sure they wasn't manhandling them hands, them nails. They not doing a lot of manual labor. That causes a lot of lifting and their nails breaking if they do a lot of manual labor or hard work or use their nails as tools. A lot will go into it. Also, when you are trying to keep your nails on from popping, I'll say it's the entire process of the whole nail experience for them. I say this because yes, you can do very well at prepping, but you could also be flooding the cuticle entirely too much, and that nail would begin to lift automatically or regardless. So I will say, be very, very careful and very tedious when you get to applying the acrylic towards the cuticle area. It is okay if you do flood it. I will suggest that you just wipe your brush off, dip it into your monomer, and then wipe it back onto the paper towel to kind of make the tip of your brush straight. And then you can just use it to kind of, I don't know, use it as like a knife to break away from the skin. So you're just not having the acrylic sitting on the skin. It's not gaining all of the oils that's sitting around her cuticle, and you won't really have any issues. But if you do, it's okay, clean it up. And if you can't clean too much of it up, you can just come back in with a e-file to get right up in there and seal those cuticles. Double check, triple check, quadruple check. Just make sure there's no acrylic touching any type of skin, because that is what really will be causing the lifting part of it all. So for the part when she said hers doesn't pop off but theirs does, I will say I kind of had the same issue when I started. My nails was pretty much lasting, and then I would have some of them text or DM me and say, you know, a nail or a few nails popped off and all of that. I will say, when you are doing your nails or doing your own nails, you take a little more time than you do when you would be doing someone else. So, you know, when you're doing your nails, you write up on there, you making sure everything, I feel like, I don't know, you pay a little more attention to your nails when you're first starting out rather than someone else's nails. And I don't know why it works like that, but girl, I definitely had the same issue because none of my nails would pop off. None of my nails at all. They would stay on. One nail would maybe pop off maybe like in 3 weeks or like 2 weeks, but they were still doing their thing. So as far as your nails popping off and theirs not, I would just recommend taking a little more time to make sure that you are prepping correctly. If you are trying to move a little quicker so they're just not sitting in your chair as long, I would not recommend that. I definitely will say take that time, take your time, just let them know, explain, hey, it may take a little longer than some nail techs out there. I am beginning, I'm trying some things out. I just want you to understand that in order for me to give you the best quality that I can give at the moment, it will take a moment. So just kind of explain to them and let them know, and everything should really just be good. But try not to rush through anything when you are just starting out. Get those mannequin hands, get those mannequin fingers, practice on yourself, practice on family, friends, get to practicing. So yeah, if you just follow all of that, I feel like everything should really work out. And also keep in mind that it follows throughout the entire appointment, not just with prepping before you get to the acrylic. It has to do with prep, acrylic application, filing afterwards, and sealing the cuticles. So please keep all of that in mind when you are with your clients and you are trying to provide them the best quality service possible. So that's pretty much all I have to give as far as tips when it comes to prepping, application, and all of that. So your nails don't pop off. Make sure you are researching those products and make sure you are following all these steps. Now, everybody is different. Different things may work for you. Different drill bits may work for you. So I also say dabble into some things so you can see and find your niche when it comes to this business. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and let y'all watch this one nail through. I did all of that talking, but I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all watch this nail through, and then I'll come back when we get to filing. The file that I'm using is an 8080 grit pen file. I'm making sure to file right up underneath that free edge to make sure that it is straight, since these are straight tips and not curved tips. Then I'm making sure to file right up against that side wall so that the nail is straight, everything is flush. And I won't go ahead and file the tip of the nail only because I'll save that for the e-filing part. I find that using a bit to go ahead and straighten out the very tip of the nail will give you that very clean, crisp cut tip. So yes, stay tuned, keep watching, and you will see how I go ahead and straighten out that tip with the e-file. I have my drill set to 18,000 RPM. That may be a little fast for most. As a beginner, I recommend starting at 10 and then working your way up when it comes to this step of the nail process. So I'm making sure to get up right up underneath the nail to make sure that the C curve is C curving. And then I'll retouch up underneath the side walls just to make sure that it is extra straight. And I'll use the same bit to get right up into that cuticle area to make sure that I'm getting every bit of excess acrylic that is still touching the skin. This will help alleviate that lifting later down the road. Now, majority of my clients don't experience lifting at all. And I will say, using this bit, when you first order it, the very tip of the edges are very, very sharp. So I definitely recommend teasing it. What I will do is kind of turn it on about 5,000 RPM, and I'll grab an 8080 grit file, and I'll hold the very tip corner edge of the tapered drill bit right on the file, just so it can tease and taper that sharp edge, so when I do get into her cuticles, I'm not cutting at her skin. And it helps a lot. Trust me, do this and I promise you, you won't have any lifting because you're gonna get all up in that cuticle. This bit does that. And there are some other bits that will help you get a little more into the cuticle. Like if you really want to get up into that, I would recommend that as well, because everybody is different. So just try things out, try different bits. Also do your research on the bits you are using. Make sure you are getting the bit for that specific need, because sometimes I've gotten bits and I thought I was getting it for, you know, a specific thing and it was for something completely different, you know. So make sure you are definitely reading what the bit is about and what the bit actually does. So I'm going to go ahead and let you all watch this process through, and then we'll get to the nail art. For the nail art process, since we did have two different sets, she really just want one set on one hand and then the other set on the other hand. So I just went ahead and uploaded both of the hands so y'all could just enjoy both, you know, why not? So for this finger, we're just going to do a black French base. We're also going to do the black French base on the pointer finger, and then we are going to do a white base on the middle finger. So y'all, on this one, I don't know, I was like, okay, my French is Frenching, I'm doing my big one, and then all of a sudden I just started messing up. I was just like, oh my goodness. But that typically happens when it comes to French, or when I do French. Some days I'll have my really good French days, some days I'll have my bad French days, some days I'll have wipe the entire nail French days off, you know. So it just really depends, you know. I really have not mastered this. I probably don't think I ever will, because look at me, here I am wiping things off. Look, just ridiculous. And then I'm wiping it on the side of my glove. It was just a mess, but we pushed through and we got it done. You know, it's okay. It looked like it never happened. When using gel polish, I always like to wipe the edges just so like we can keep the shape of the actual nail. I find that some gel polishes can be a little thick, and then it'll be a little bulgy towards the tip of the nail and the edges, and then it'll just defer from the entire straight crispy look that we were going for. I also would recommend, after you apply your gel polish, even the top coat, I would recommend going in with your file and just kind of filing just the tip of the nail, just to gain back the crispiness right at that free edge, and you should be perfectly fine. For this nail, we are going for a little half scream. So for my screams, I always like to put the white base down first, because I find with time management, it also helps with getting the nail art on the nail quick and easy and fast. So when you go ahead and put that white base down, all you gotta do is just put his little cloak in his eyes, nose, and mouth with the black, and you're done. So yes, I definitely do recommend putting the white base down first. And for this French, we just have some little tiny ghosts in the French. I thought it was really super cute. I'm like, oh gosh, mini ghost. Yes, I love it. But I love Halloween. I know some don't, but y'all, I am a sucker for it, okay? And this nail, I am just doing an outline right on that French, and then we're going to fill in that French with a spider web. I have been falling in love with these French looks with these little lined borders around them. I have been kind of getting better at it. I'm not gonna lie, at first my lines were too thick, some of them were squiggly. I'm definitely not an expert, but I will say I've gotten a lot better with having so many of my clients booking a set that requires like a border around the French. So that's technically my practice in my eyes. I could, turn around, bring out my practice hand and get to practicing nail art. I will recommend that, but I typically don't. Every time a client come in and they show me something new, I'll be like, oh yeah, I can do that. And me, I'll probably do it the hardest way possible. But as I do it, I kind of find my own way in doing it better or doing it faster. And I'll typically do that only if I've tried to go find a video out on what I'm trying to do and I just can't find no tutorial or how to. I'll just kind of like look at the video or look at the picture and I'll be like, okay, so she probably used this, she probably used that, they probably used this, maybe that. And I'll do a trial and error while I'm doing their nails, honestly, only because they really don't even be here for that long. So if it takes just like an extra 5 to 10 minutes just to figure out what I'm trying to do or how I can achieve a specific look, then in my opinion, I think that's perfectly fine. But if you don't want that hassle and adding extra time or sitting there trying to figure out what you're finna do in front of your client, then I'll definitely recommend you practicing before they even get there. Just get your mannequin hands and fingers, or even get those swatch sticks and practice on those help as well. For the orange French, we're gonna do some really cute pumpkin faces right in the French. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was very tedious and kind of hard. I would recommend getting a very, very skinny liner brush to do so because the face is so tiny in the little French, but it came out super cute. For the tiny ghost, I'm just using my dotty tool just to make some eyes and squiggle it a little bit to make a wide mouth. This is so much better than going and trying to use a brush, and I feel it's very beginner friendly. So as mentioned before, since we have already put the white base down for the scream, now I'm just kind of going in and just outlining first just around that white border, and then I'll go back and fill in the entire rest of this little hood and how I kind of want it to look. Then I'll go back in and I'll just use my brush in one swiping motion to kind of get the eyeball how I want to. At first, y'all, I put the eye in a completely different direction. And I was so surprised that I could even wipe it off without wiping off. Look at me looking at it. I'm like, this ain't right. That don't look right. I was looking at it for a minute, but it hasn't sped up a little bit, but I was looking at it for a nice little second. I'm like, that does not look right. So yeah, I just kind of use a little paper towel to get it as much as possible. And I got it off without, disturbing the other black that I just placed, because, that would have been a hassle, and I would have had to wipe the entire nail off. So just in a one swooping motion, just kind of add the little then I put a dot and then moved it up to kind of give it's technically like an upside down heart. That's how I feel his nose gives. It gives like an upside down heart. And then for the mouth, it's kind of big at the top and small at the bottom. So you kind of just want to fill in the rest of what you have right there at the bottom of his face. And that'll just fill it in completely. And then you have a screen. For the pumpkin, I tried to wipe as much of the black off of my brush as possible so that the tip is as skinny as possible, just because I didn't have as much of a canvas to work on. Because once I put the eyes on, I'm like, dang, this mouth is finna be really small. And it does have teeth in it, so I was like, okay, we're gonna see. This is my first time doing this, and it still came out cute. I was like, okay, look at me. But this is what I mean, how like I'll see something or my client will bring a picture in and I'll be like, I can do that. But as I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, we're gonna try a little slower. We're gonna try this, we're gonna try that. And it usually ends up always working out. So for this nail, I'm just going to put a black border and we're gonna put some stitches on there. This effect has me in a complete chokehold, okay? I even have this look on my nails as we speak. Man, I cannot let it go. I feel like every spooky set that I have done has had stitches in it so far, and I am not complaining one bit. Now on to the last nail, this good old faithful white. So I'm going in with a red border because this is going to be a droopy blood nail. And I like to go ahead and go in with the border and then add my little dots and pull up where I feel like I want it to droop from. And then that's when I'll go back in towards the border area to kind of give it that more droopy like effect, I should say, rather than it just kind of sticking out from the border. It looks so much better like that. And I do recommend, again, you guys getting a skinnier brush, getting some detailed brushes. These are detailed brushes, but I have seen some skinnier ones, and I'm definitely going to invest into some because I'm finding that I'm doing a lot of nail art recently. At first, I don't feel like I was doing as much nail art. I was really just doing kind of line art rather than actual like characters and all kind of crazy stuff. So I didn't really need the brushes that I need when it comes to detailing like this. So yes, I definitely do recommend y'all get them brushes. They will help you in the long run. So I want to go ahead and say thank you so much for making it this far. If you did, if you skipped and made it this far, hey, how you doing? It's okay. But thank y'all so much for supporting my channel. Please be sure to turn on your notification bells. And I'm going to let y'all watch the rest of this through and get to the final look. See y'all in my next video.